Hi, I'm Anne from Game Like a Mother. I specialize in games that can be played in 20 minutes or less. And June is my birthday month, so I'm wearing my glam shirt and I'm going to share my top 10 games that I got to play this year. The games that made this list are basically my show-off games. These are the games that when friends or family came over, they were the ones I would run to get out and have them play with me because I wanted to show them off. They were so fun or interesting in some way. I have them all listed in the description of the video along with the timestamp if you want to skip to a particular one. They're arranged mostly from easier gameplay to more involved, but they all have a pretty universal appeal, I feel, which is why they made this list. So let's get started. Push is first on the list this year. This is a push your luck family level card game in which you are trying to get the most points. And all you have to do to play the game is when it's your turn, you're playing your cards out onto 3 different stacks as you please, and you're trying to have it be where you get the most points on one of the stacks that you're going to get to collect. But you go bust if any of the stacks have 2 of the same number or 2 on the same color, 2 of the same color on them. So you have to be careful about how you're playing stuff out so you don't get bust and don't get to collect any cards. And what's nice about this game is with the 3 stacks, if you get to collect your cards, you take them. If you decide, okay, I'm done here, I'm just going to take this. But then the people next to you get to collect any remaining stacks. So you are giving them points as you play. So even though each person takes their own turn, everybody else at the table is very invested in what is going on because it could impact them. There's a reverse card that can come out, and then instead of the stacks going clockwise that are collected after you've collected yours, they go counterclockwise, and the people on the other side get to collect them. There's even cards that can be played out that make you have to roll a die, which is bad. You don't want the die in this game because when you roll it, if it goes on a particular color, like red, then you have to get rid of all of your red cards and you lose all those points. So the die is bad. But I love this game because it is so simple to get up and running. I foisted this on a group of Girl Scout moms when we were at an overnight camp out, and they'd been hanging out with 3rd graders all day. They were fried, and we were just sitting around in the evening, and I said, I have this game to play with you. And they enjoyed it. It was fun to play. It wasn't, there was interesting things going on, but it wasn't a brain burner where you were having to make intense strategic decisions. But it was interesting and fun, and you didn't feel too bad, win or lose, because of the push your luck element. There was enough luck involved that I wasn't like, oh no, I just did something so foolish there. It's just, oh, I decided to push it too far and then I didn't get points. So everyone had a good time. It's been my go-to game to gift to people right now because it is such a nice mix of luck and skill, and kids do well at all ages for this. And because it is so easy and quick and fun to play, people who don't play a lot of games can do really well at this, and people who play a lot of games still enjoy the gameplay. So it has a pretty universal appeal that is sometimes very difficult to find, and it's compact, easy to play, and we love it a lot. Next up, we have Similo, and my entire family is pretty obsessed with this one. It is a game in which you have a deck of cards. The person who is the clue giver picks out one at random and then shuffles it in with another 11 cards. You have 12 total out in front of you in a tableau. And it's a cooperative game. You are trying to get the people guessing to guess the secret card. And how you do that is you get a few more cards. You get 5 more cards from the deck, and you just lay out one by one. You give a clue and you put it out horizontally if it is not like the secret card, or you place it vertically if it is like the secret card. And they have to take out a certain number of cards each turn until the end. You are trying to get to the one correct card. And this game is, if you like games like Code Names but need something that's a little more geared for kids, this is your slam dunk option. Kids go nuts over this game. This is one of the games where I show it, and it seems like anytime I show it to a parent, they run out and buy a copy for their kids. And this is another one that I just have been giving to everyone as birthday party gifts lately because it's so easy to learn, but just so fun to play. They have a bunch of different versions. There's animals, wild animals, fables, spookies, myths, and even a Harry Potter version now. So you can pick the version that's right for you. You can mix and match versions. Our favorite is just mixing the animals and wild animals together is really fun. And on that note, I highly recommend starting with one of the animal versions, especially with a younger child, because it is challenging to give clues, especially if the child is giving the clues. It's a little tricky to give good clues and realize, okay, this is what they're going to be looking at in this picture. And so sometimes you think, oh, it's a small mammal, and that's what they're going with. And no, they're going with the background color on the card, or if it looks like it's an angry animal or a happy animal. So it's probably a really great family communication exercise. But the animals, they seem to do a lot better with. It's a really fun teaching tool if you get the myths and you can learn about Greek mythology. Like, that's really fun, but it is a little trickier if you're not as familiar to say, okay, does this character relate to the others? Is it evil? Is it good or bad? So it can be a little bit more difficult with those, although we own them and they're really fun to play. But the ones that we just have played the heck out of, especially, we've ended up sleeving both of the animal ones, which we've never put little plastic covers on any of our cards before, but we've used them so much. So it's just a standout game, a surefire hit for kids, and it is fun for adults to play too. Next, we have Tussie Mussie, which is a game in which you are speaking the language of flowers to each other, and you are trying to score the most points depending on the flowers you collect into your arrangement. And what I love is all this game is it's 18 cards in the deck, and you, on your turn, you take 2 cards, look at them, pick which one is going to be face up and which one is going to be face down, and you offer them to your opponent. And they get to look at just the face up one and they say, I want, and they can decide to take that one or the face down one. And so they take one and then you get the other one. And that's all there is to gameplay. You only play until you get 4 cards, and then you score and you do 3 rounds. And it is so fast. It is so quick and easy to get up and running, but there's a lot there. In your arrangement, some are the face-up cards are considered part of your bouquet. The face-down are considered keepsakes, and that can impact scoring. There's a bunch of strategic decisions you can make with the different cards that you have. And I was just recently on a trip, and this is a perfect airplane game because those tray tables are small, and having 4 cards end up across is just about the right amount of space to have that and still have your beverage and a snack there as well. So it's perfect for an airplane. It's by the creator of Wingspan, a very popular game. So it has some legs to it. And it's by the publishing company is Button Shy, and they create all of these games that are just in literal wallets that are just these slim, usually 18 cards. And it was very difficult to pick which game I wanted to feature on this list. I limited myself to 1, but we have a bunch right now, and we have had only really good ones. We have this and Skulls of Sedlec, Why I Otter, Food Chain Island, and I have a couple versions of Moving Pictures on the way. So it's a great company. They have a lot of wonderful options, but of their options, we just love Tussie Mussie, and it is a perfect airplane game. Next, we have Super Mega Lucky Box, which is essentially strategic bingo. And the way the game works is you're trying to get the most points, and you get to pick a few little bingo type cards to put in front of you. You start with 3, and then you just play 3 rounds, and all you do in those rounds is you shuffle up a pile of cards and you deal out half of them. You deal out 9 of the cards, and each time you flip over a number, you get to cross off one of those numbers on one of your boards. So I like this because even that right there, so quick and easy. Everybody understands, bingo, that quick and easy to get up and running. But as you cross off numbers, you start to trigger bonuses at the end of each row. It's a 3x3 grid on each of the little cards. And if you cross off a row of 3 on the end, there's a bonus item. And the bonus item can be another number where you can mark that off somewhere else. Or just a question mark, which is any number you want it to be. Or you can get more lightning bolts that allow you to adjust numbers that are flipped out. If you say, oh, I don't want it to be a 7, I'd rather have it be a 6, you just spend a lightning bolt and you make it so. You can get moons that are worth points at the end of the game. Whoever has the most gets points. Whoever has the least loses points. If that sounds like a familiar game concept, this is from the creator of Sushi Go. So, which is some legit street cred in terms of game designer. So the game feels very satisfying to play. I didn't know that I had a thing about checking off boxes, but it feels really good to check off a row of boxes and then get a bonus, and then that triggers something else, and you get extra bonuses from that. And sometimes you're at a point where you're like, oh, okay, I crossed off this, now I get a bonus over here, that finished that line, so I get a bonus that I can use over here, and now I completed that card, I get to put it off to the side, and so it's really satisfying to play. And this is one of the games, along with Ohanami and Silver and Gold, which are like our go-to for couples game nights, either just on our own or with other couples, because they're interesting, they're satisfying to play, and they are basically zero conflict games, because you are, I think it counts as like a flip and right, this one, where you are essentially, you're just doing your own thing. And so there's not a lot of interaction between players. So you are just, no one's going to mess up your game. No one's going to mess up your board. You are just trying to do your best, which is with what is given to you. And if something gets messed up, then you blame the board that you got or the numbers that were flipped. But it's not anybody else's fault, which is pretty key. But the gameplay is so fun. You just want to play again and again. Whenever we play this with a couple, we end up playing a bunch of rounds all in a row because it is just so fun. Great repeat play value, and a great game. Next up, we have Dragon Parks, in which you are trying to get the most visitors, aka points, for your different islands in which you have dragons. And you play down these transparent cards in order to create the dragons and the environment for your island. And the transparent cards are so cool. It was so easy to get my kids to play this game with me. You just show them the cards and they were in. There's a bunch of different things on the cards. There are these eggs that are hatchlings. Some of the dragons are angry. There are sheep that you have to take into account. And so you play a few rounds of play, and after each round, you score for different trendy dragons. Different colors matter each round. Whoever has the most blue or yellow dragons get special bonuses, including a legendary dragon that will come and visit your island. If you've placed a dragon on top of an egg, then it counts as a hatchling, and you get a couple more visitors that come because of that. And then if you have a lot of dragons on your island, you score a bunch of points. A bunch of people will come and visit, and it's very difficult to have it be completely covered with all of the dragons on every spot available on your island. You get a bunch of visitors for that. And then you tally up how many dragons you have and how many sheep you have. And that's how you're supposed to feed the dragons. If you have enough sheep, you feed them. And if you don't have enough sheep, you lose the difference between dragons and sheep in visitors on your island. And kids always really like it when I'm like, we don't ask too many questions about what happened. I say the dragons just roared a bunch because they were hungry. And the kids always say, no, they got eaten. So it's really funny. But the gameplay is quite good. You have to be quite strategic in how you play the cards down. You're only playing 3 per round, but you have to be very careful about how you place them. And it's by the creators of Draftosaurus. It's by the same publishing company. And so it kind of feels like the cousin of Draftosaurus, a very popular dinosaur-themed game, but with dragons and with these really awesome, clear, transparent cards that kids just love, and quite frankly, I do too. Next up, we have Canvas, another transparent card game. Apparently, this was the year of that in our house. And in this, it's a little more adult, grown-up themed than Dragon Parks. In this, you are layering these transparent art cards in order to create paintings, and then you are scoring them based on a variety of scoring cards that you can have for the game that have different things on the bottom of the card. There are different colors and symbols. That is how you actually score the cards, and you can get points for having variety, one of each color. Repetition is 2 triangles. Emphasis, if you have just one of the symbols on the bottom, you can get a ribbon for that. And the game is great because it feels like I'm making art, but really it's kind of a puzzle game in which you are carefully selecting different art cards. And even the process of doing that, you have inspiration tokens and you can pay to, it's free to get the one on the far end of the, where you're picking up the cards, or you can pay some inspiration tokens to take one further up along the line if you want a specific one a little bit more than others. But it's a bit of a puzzle to put them together in a way to score it the best. And then you once you decided, you sleeve it and you can show everybody. And it always has some fun name like Darkness Inspired. And you look at it and it's a dark outside, but then it's a girl reaching up to paint or something like that. So they're all really fun and satisfying. It's a game where you're constantly showing off, oh, look at my cards, look at my cards. Especially kids like this game too, and they love getting to show off what they've created. And I love they have enough of the different scoring conditions, and they have a chart in the back of the rule book that's really helpful. So you can set it up with just 2 scoring conditions if you're playing with kids or something and you want to make it pretty easy where they can just feel very successful and do very well. But if you're playing with some adults who are avid gamers, you can set up some pretty challenging conditions where the cards, to try to make everything work, can be much more difficult, and you have to be very careful about the cards you select and how you piece them together, because some of them, you'll have it where they have multiple of the same spot on the bottom, like 2 blues or the different combinations of symbols. And so kind of, okay, what order should I have? Okay, I have these 5 different cards, I can use 3. Okay, should I use this one and this one? Or what if I bring in this one? So it's a bit of a puzzle to put together. It plays so well. And again, not difficult to get people to play a game with you with the cool transparent art cards. It's an instant yes, an instant win. Next, we have Truffle Shuffle, which is a game in which you are trying to earn points or collect money by filling orders of chocolates. And you do this by selecting cards from a pyramid of cards you've set up. And the trick is some of the cards are face up and you can see exactly what they are, but then it alternates. Some are face up, and then the next row is face down, and then face up, face down, face up, and face down. And so sometimes you can only see the back of the card, so you can tell what color it's going to be, but you have no idea what number it's going to be, which adds a really fun element of a little bit of strategy and just a little bit of luck too that goes along with this game. And this game is perfect for people who grew up with rummy style games. This kind of feels like grown-up rummy to me. And I loved card games growing up, and especially the rummy ones we played all the time. And so this one, it's funny because when we were making this list, I was talking to my husband about it, and I said, why haven't we been playing Truffle Shuffle that much? I like it so much. And we realized it was because my parents had stolen it and it's been living at their house, and they've been playing it for game nights with friends when they've been coming over, which I love, is really great because they like it so much too. It's just such a fun, quick game. It's a compliment whenever they're so excited about a game they just want it to live at their house for a while. But it's fun. You don't have to. You get to decide what order you fill. So there's a whole chart of different chocolate orders you can get, and the scoring, and if you hold out for something really good, or if just, I'm going to cash in while I can and take this littler order that's worth much less points. And there are a few specialty cards in the deck. You can have a thing where you get to draw 2, so you'll have that and you'll hoard it in your hand, and then you'll play it down and get to draw 2, and somebody had been waiting to take the card that was covering this other obviously very good card, like a wild or something, and so you'll go ha 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 and place it down and get to take your 2 cards. So it's really fun. It's kind of elevated the game of Rummy, and it's one of those ones that just would be like a great go-to couple game night. It's really engaging and interesting, but pretty relaxing to play, so it's a perfect evening game, and if you grew up loving card games, you will love this one. Next, we have Kingdomino Origins. Kingdomino is an award-winning game in which your dominoes, instead of having numbers on them, they have different types of terrain, and you try to match up the terrain in a way in which to have the most points in your kingdom. Well, they came out with a few different versions of Kingdomino, all of them very popular, but this kind of combines a few of the things that made different versions really well, and I'd say this is the standout and the one you should get if you're looking for Kingdomino in your house, because they're the 3 different modes. You can hit whatever audience you are going for when you play this game. The discovery mode is essentially the same as regular Kingdomino. This game has a great Stone Age theme, which I really enjoy. So in discovery mode, it's basically the same as regular Kingdomino, except they've introduced volcanoes, which allow you to shoot fire onto spaces within a certain level, depending on the size of the volcano. And that's how you score points. Instead of in the original, it was crowns on spots. That's earned you points when you combined it with all the combined terrain of that type. In this, it's fire on those spots, caveman theme. And so that's all it is. It's very easy and it's fun, and you can control a little bit more where your points work in the game. So it's great. It works really well for people who are new to the game. Next, there's totem mode, and in this, there are really cute tiny tokens that are mammoths, fish, mushroom, and flint pieces. My oldest son is obsessed with these. Whenever we play this game, he just won't stop fiddling around with them. As an adult, I think they're really cool, and I want to play around with them half the time because they're just so fun and they look really neat. The detail is nice on them. And you're supposed to place those on the corresponding type of terrain, and that helps you score points at the end. And there are bonuses for having the most of a different type of totem, which is really fun to see those go back and forth. Oh, you stole the fish bonus because you got more than I did, so that adds a different level of strategy. And this seems to be the family level that just is a hit. My parents really enjoy it like this. My son, who plays a lot of games, likes this level of it. And then next, there's the tribe mode, which is if you're looking for a full-on, intense, Kingdomino-themed gaming experience, this is what you're going for, because you use the resources to buy little cavemen that have special abilities and scoring depending on the pieces around them. Some of them score depending on the totems that are around them. They score like 3 points per mammoth surrounding the spot that they're placed. Or some of the cavemen are the fighters, and so you multiply. Okay, if you're able to place a few fighters in sequence, it's 3 times 3 plus 2 plus 1 times 3. So there's a little more going on, and this is like, if you play a lot of games, you're going to just be able to sink your teeth into this and really enjoy it. So I'd say Kingdomino Origins is such a great game. Don't give it to someone that's going to be intimidated by the box. It's a bit. When you open it up, there's a lot of pieces. The rule book with the 3 different modes is a little bit to read through. So either you have it if you're ready to go through that, which isn't tough, and get the game up and running, and or you can give it to somebody that's not going to be intimidated by that. But the game itself is such a standout, and it just plays so well, and it's been one of the ones that has just been such a hit for us this year. Next, we have Kim Joy's Magic Bakery, which if you love the Great British Baking Show as much as I do, you should run out and grab this game because it is so good. It is all that you hoped and wished for. It is based on some of Kim Joy's bakes. She's one of the best contestants for the Great British Baking Show. And it is the idea is that you have a bakery set up in a magic woodland forest, and these cute woodland creatures come in and are ordering bakes, and you're working as a team to try to fill as many as possible. But there's a bunch of different scenarios, so there are different challenges each time. And so it starts out pretty easy, and then there's an escalating level of difficulty, and it gets quite challenging by the time you get to scenario 10. And it feels very exciting to finish that. I played all the way through this with my daughter this year, and it was just one of the best bonding experiences for us. We were so excited whenever it would be the evening we could have time to play this together. But I also played it with my boys, and they loved it. We played this for a family game night with my parents. I played this with my ladies game group. I was so excited to show this off to anybody and everybody. I will say that in the rules, you're supposed to keep your cards face down, but you're allowed to communicate whatever you want about your cards to each other. And so we communicated it by placing our cards face up, because it just seemed to save a lot of time by saying, oh, remind me what you have, remind me, what should I be going for? Let me just show you. And so that's what we do to save some time. I think it's okay. And I like this game too, because it's not just like you go through the 10 scenarios and then you're done. You can replay any of your favorite scenarios, and then they have a bunch of different suggestions to match up different combinations of scenarios for some unique challenges. So you can play this quite a bit and go get your bake on. But I mean, this wins on theme alone. This is a standout game. Finally, we have Railroad Inc. In this game, it's a roll and write. You are rolling 4 dice every turn, and everyone is using the results of that dice roll to, on their own little grid, they get to create a network of roads and train tracks, and they're trying to connect exits together and make the most efficient, best network. And that's it. The different dice they either have train tracks or roads on them. Sometimes they're just a turn. Sometimes they're a T. Sometimes they're an overpass. And so whatever you get, you have to write down on your board, and you just you roll 7 times. And then at the end, there's a few specialty routes you can put down from your board that help quite a bit. They're where it's an X or that you can connect a bunch of things together, and you score for connecting the most exits together with minimal incomplete routes, because sometimes you just have to leave a road hanging because you don't have any dice that really connect to it. So the least incomplete routes and you get points for longest road and longest train tracks, and that's all the game is. So that base level, fun, good, interesting. But what really makes this game amazing is that there are 28 different expansions that you can add into the game that tweak it and do different things to the game. If you get this, I highly recommend starting with Railroad Inc. Blue Edition, because this is a nice entry level to the game, and the 2 expansions that come with it are happy, easy, nice. It's a pleasant thing to add into the game. It comes with rivers and lakes. And so then if you're doing that, you just add in 2 of the specialty dice, and you're rolling 6 per turn and having to put those down instead. And it adds a fun, different element to the game. So instead of your just roads and trains, you've got like a river going through too, and you're trying to do that without messing up your routes. And so that's a fun element. The lake, if you build routes that end into that can help connect them all. And so you can you can make it so you can connect everything, which is very difficult to do otherwise. On our anniversary, we went to a board game cafe and played the Red Edition, because that's romantic. And we got to play the version with the meteors, which I'd heard not as great things about, but I loved, because sometimes the meteors can smash some of your tracks, which can be very upsetting. Or if you're able to manage things, you can build tracks that lead to the meteors, which give you extra points because you're harvesting your minerals or something from the meteors. So by having all of the different expansions, it really adds to the game. So it's not just going to be that you just get to tweak your strategy a little bit each time. And then they have a couple other big boxes that up the level of gameplay a lot. There's a lot more different dice rolls that can happen. There's the terrible baseball double curve ones that are really difficult to place well and be able to make your routes still all connect. And so that's the Shining Yellow edition. And then they also have the Lush Green edition, which I haven't gotten to play yet. And so that ups the level of strategy. I would very much start with the other ones, but it's kind of an amazing world to have entered. I really enjoy playing it, although I don't recommend playing with someone whose job is designing underground power transmission lines, which is what my husband does. So he does very well at this game. I've beaten him about twice. But it's so fun to put together your routes. It's really satisfying, but it is not a light game. This is a very thinky, where am I going to put this? But it's very satisfying too. And you always feel like, oh, this part was luck, but oh, I just managed this so I could use whatever kind of dice and it made it all work together. And it's so beautiful when you finish it. You want to show off what you've created to everybody else. And it's nice because it is so fair. You've been given the exact same dice as everybody else. So while there is some luck, you have all been given the same items to work with. So it's a very fair game. If anybody has things about, oh, you got this roll and I had to work with this, it is the same for everybody, but it is amazing. I am loving playing all of the different expansions, and it is so fun to play through. So that's it for my top 10 favorite games for 2022. And good news, I am probably getting some more games for my birthday. So I will have new exciting games to talk about soon. Can't wait. Thanks, and see you next time from Game Like a Mother.